Yeah, I think it's probably about time we start decorating. I think it's nearly Halloween. We should get this place all nice and spooky. I love Halloween, don't you? Dead Ted's back. Dead Ted's back, everyone. Look. Hello, Ted. Well, I guess he's back for Halloween, you know. Nice of you to come back, Ted. Cat, look, Dead Ted's back. Don't start that again, please. Please, just keep it down, okay? I know you don't... No, Ted, it's fine. He's not saying anything. It's all forgotten about. It's forgotten about, right? I'm going to have to send you out if you can't... Look, no, Ted, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that. He didn't mean that at all, okay? Cat, I mean, I can't hear myself thinking here. So hello everyone, welcome to episode 71. It's not quite my Halloween episode, this is my pre-Halloween episode. This is the episode where I consider decorating the place for Halloween. So last year I made some spooky masks, but I actually released the video on Halloween, and you know, that's a bit redundant because Halloween's already over. But you know, a lot of you have watched that video again this year because, you know, in preparation for Halloween. So I figured I'd do my Halloween build, you know, before Halloween. You know, makes sense. Also, I can see out of the masks, by the way. I get a lot of comments saying, can you even see out of those masks? I'm like, yeah, I can. There are little holes there. I just probably should have mentioned that in the episode. I won't put them on now because they're essentially like spider farms now. All those little tubes, the spiders just love those tubes. Halloween is coming up, so I need a Halloween costume. I'm going to go trick-or-treating with the kids. I've got a little Halloween party to go. I want something that's kind of easy to put on, and I don't have to wear any makeup or shave the beard, basically, or, you know, actually put much effort in at all. My intention is to make a Halloween costume that's kind of low-key, but still interesting and funny, and you know, still technically a Halloween costume, but you can still wear your own clothes with it, because I only have this shirt, and yeah, I don't really want to go out and buy another shirt. It's got a bit of paint on it, actually. And that's what we're going to do today, make a Halloween costume. But the methods I'm going to use, I think, would be applicable. You could use it for tabletop gaming and miniature making and model making and stuff like that. Now, you could use the same methods to make, I don't know, like a hill. You know, it's nice that Ted's here early, you know. I just hope that Cat and Ted don't kill each other. Well, I mean, Cat couldn't really kill Ted because he's already dead. But, you know, he could probably kill Ted with his telekinesis powers. Or, you know, I think he's a poltergeist, actually. Are you a poltergeist, Ted? He said he doesn't understand what that means. I mean, does that, you can move stuff with your... Yeah, he can move stuff with his mind when he gets angry. So let's not make him angry. But that's it. I guess we should just get on with it. So, time to sketch. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do for my Halloween costume. I have an idea of some kind of growth growing out of me. That sounds kind of strange. But you know, like that scene in Total Recall when that man comes out of his chest and he's like, great. You know, that guy. So let's draw me. There we go. Couple of muscles there. And there we go. If you ever wondered what a dad bod looks like, it's like that minus the head coming out of the chest. I was thinking about doing this, but then it would be pretty impractical having to undo my shirt every time I had to show someone my costume. I get in trouble for things like that. So I'm going to maybe have one coming out of my neck. If you've ever seen the film How to Get Ahead in Advertising, you know what I mean. It's kind of the beginning stages when this growth turns into a head. So at this point I'm thinking, do I make a small replica of my head coming out of my shoulder, like a conjoined twin? But then I thought, maybe this conjoined twin didn't really develop properly, like it's a little growth that just didn't really develop ears, and it's kind of, maybe it's even dead and I just haven't removed it yet, like tidying up after you've built something, like you're going to get around to it at some point. I don't know. I'm thinking gory, because gory is more fun and it's easier than making my face. So there are ways to make this that would be really realistic, really kind of spooky and scary, like film effects, and that would involve lots of money and latex and things like that. Things that you don't really have around the house. I'm thinking maybe paper mache, maybe some cardboard, a pound shop skull perhaps, things that are accessible that you can maybe go and attempt something like this. I know that's what you all come here for, I like it to be accessible to everyone. Lots of fathers and their kids and parents with their kids watch this stuff and attempt to do it themselves. So that's my goal. I want it to be, really spooky, kind of effective, but, just household goods. Basically like every video on this channel. So as for the head, I'm thinking, basically a zombie head. Probably smaller than mine, like it's growing, and it kind of stopped growing after a certain amount of time, with a nice big smile, because it's not unfriendly. It's a nice, friendly, rotting zombie conjoined twin. To be honest with you, it's quite nice just to draw a zombie head. I don't really get many opportunities to draw zombie heads. They're quite fun to draw. I'm thinking this thing is going to be disgusting. I want these wounds to be glistening and oozy, and I'm just going to have fun. It's Halloween season. It's time to make gory stuff. I just want to scare some kids, scare my kids straight, like that documentary series that didn't work. Not straight as in the sense straight, scare them as in, like, they won't be naughty anymore. You know what I mean? So this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is a website where you go to make websites. Now, if you have no idea how to make a website, you don't know how to do with a HTML, is it HTML? I'm not sure. And you just want to make a website about things like, like a pickle website, for example. Like, like that, like Pickle Perfection. That's it, Bill. Click there. If you just want to make a website that's quick and easy and clean and nicely designed, then go to Squarespace. I made this website in it must have been like 0.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure, but it was really easy and it looks pretty good. And I will add stuff to it at some point. But if you want to make your own website, there's a sale going on at Squarespace. There's a little link down below. Go and have a look. After the episode, obviously. So before we get started, I need to do some experimentation. I need to experiment, basically. I need to figure out a good paper mache recipe. Now, I've looked at a few videos, some old lady making paper mache stuff. I can't remember the name of it. Put it in the comments if you know what I mean. But she makes some paper mache clay. Now, I'm going to sort of take that recipe, not use any of her measurements, and just experiment, I don't like measurements. It's not the measurement that counts. It's how this glue gun takes forever. I mean, I just end up waffling about rubbish. Oh wait, so here is some tin foil, aluminum foil, aluminium foil, whatever you want to call it. Basically, let's just call it foil. We're going to use this as the armature for the build, so I just want to use these as little experiment pieces on little pieces of card. And some toilet roll. This is what we're going to use for the paper. It used to be like newspaper and things like that, but toilet paper, I hate that first bit there when you have to rip it off. Toilet roll dissolves much easier in water and it makes a nice mush. So we're going to use PVA glue. This is my builder's glue, but we can use any, come on now, there we go. Any old cheap glue will do. And we're going to use, oh my God, I'm so sorry, don't read that. This is white plaster. I'm going to try this perhaps and see if this works. That's better, much better, Bill. I'm also going to try this tin of I'm going to get demonetized at this rate. Look, just don't look at that. This is my other tin full of tile grout. Yeah, nice innocent tile grout. We're going to try this. And also I'm going to use some of that pound store filler, like Fix and Grout. Polyfiller will do. that kind of stuff. I think it's like the same stuff. I don't know. Correct me down below. So firstly, we want to break down that toilet roll. We want to just stick it in a bowl of water. A fresh toilet roll is much better than used toilet roll. All the little peanuts and sweet corn get in the way. So try and use fresh stuff. And we just need to basically break it apart. You know, and I found this little attachment for my drill. I know what you're thinking, fancy pants. Now we need a sieve to basically just drain most of the water from the toilet roll, not all of it. We need to just kind of squish it through. This is, you know, you figure out ways of doing it that's much easier than just doing it hand by hand. But yeah, basically you want to kind of pump most of that water out of there. You know, you want it to still be moist, but not too moist. Now I do understand I've said moist quite a few times, and I probably will say it a few more times, but you know, you want it just that right amount of moist. Now if you don't know what I mean, go and ask your dad. But we need some PVA glue, chuck that in there. Now this one, I'm going to put a bit of that fix and grout in. This one, a bit of white plaster. And the third one, we're going to try a bit of tile grout and just see if they react differently, or if they're all exactly the same. They're probably going to be exactly the same, but it gives me more excuses to use my new little whisk. Look at that. So we want this to be spread on nice and smooth, so I figured I'd use my fingers, and then I figured against it because it was just really messy and annoying. So now I'm using a brush, a hairy stick, as we like to call it here on Bill Making Stuff. Basically, my experiment is I kind of want it to be as smooth and as hard as possible. Now I'm fully aware of the dad joke that could have just gone, you know, straight there, but I'm just not going to do it. You know, I don't need to do it. I've kind of grown as a creator. But that was the plaster, and this is the tile grout. Now, when I watched that old lady making paper mache clay, she used some mineral oil, which is basically baby oil. So we're going to try a little bit of that, see if that makes any difference. She also used a bit of flour, not British plain flour, probably American plain flour, whether that's a thing, I don't know. But basically the flour is supposed to kind of suck all the moisture out and, you know, make it, I don't know, less moist. I'm sorry, so sorry. So here are my test samples. Let's leave these in the airing cupboard just to dry out a bit. Hello there, Bill. Bill again. Bill's the hands that you see on screen, the majority of the video. I just want to interrupt my own video to kind of, I just want to talk about something. Now, people tend to like my videos because, you know, certain things, I don't put clickbait thumbnails, I don't put clickbait, you know, titles, you know, I don't include Warhammer in every single title just to get the clicks. And I think I'm pretty genuine. I think the whole channel's pretty genuine. I just want to make stuff that's interesting, and I want to entertain you. I like to keep the channel as genuine as possible. I don't use 3D printers, and I've got nothing against 3D printers, but you know, if you have a 3D printer, you can use it. But for me and for you, I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking like, why would you want to see me just click a button and 3D print something? Because a lot of you don't have 3D printers. I like to make stuff accessible for everyone. You may think sometimes I ramble on about all sorts of gibberish and nonsense, and that's because I don't script it. I don't want to be that cheesy presenter, you know, hey guys, today we're going to do this and this and, you know, all that crap. I want to be really genuine for you, and, you know, I think we connect when we're like that. But, you know, there's a reason why people do stuff like that. There's a certain presenter people expect on big channels, you know. There's algorithms, there's people that want to watch Warhammer stuff, so if you stick Warhammer in the title, you're going to get clicks. You know, and if you put a clickbait thumbnail, obviously it's clickbait, you're going to click on it. And the more people that click on your video, the more money you're going to make from YouTube ad revenue. Now, I don't make as much because, you know, I think I've got my fans, which are you lot, and you click on my videos because you like the stuff I do, but you know about the stuff I do. There are a lot of like new viewers that would just see the thumbnail and think, what the f*** is that? You know, they'd have no idea what it is unless they click on it and watch it. Now, that's the hard thing, to get people to do that. Now, I could make clickbait thumbnails. I could make clickbait titles. I could get more of a new audience in. You know, I can get more people in, get more clicks, more views. But I don't want to do that. I don't think you want me to do that either. And there's a reason why I don't have to do it. Now, you know, that long spiel, it's basically leading up to me, you know, doing the old, you know, join Patreon. Patreon is the reason why I can provide what I think is best for the audience, for you lot. You know, I can just do what I think is entertaining rather than, you know, is good for the algorithm. I hope this little call to action hasn't spoiled the video for you. You have to do it sometimes, especially people like me who don't use Warhammer in the title every episode. I have to do stuff like this to keep the channel going. So I hope you understand. There's a Patreon link down below. I really appreciate it. But that's it now. Back to the serious stuff. The head growing out my shoulder made out of paper mache and cardboard and tin foil. That's what we're going to do now. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks. So it didn't take too long to cure or dry, whatever it would be. It took a few hours, which is better than normal paper mache. Paper mache takes forever. Now, these are all, I mean, they're all really solid. Not really solid, like just basically little lumps of rock. If you ever want to make terrain and you don't have any of that super sculpey, this stuff will work. But I don't know which is the best. I think maybe the oil and the flour is the smoothest. So, and it sands pretty well. So I'm thinking maybe, yeah, we'll just combine all of it and make our own paper mache clay. Good idea. Now, obviously, the best thing about the Halloween season is all the Halloween toot in the shops. Now, I found this skull in the pound store. Skull with moving jaw. Well, we don't need the moving jaw. We can just, yeah. Hope you enjoyed that. That's the last time that jaw is going to be moving. We're just going to use this as our base. Now, I don't think this is a full-size human skull. So, you know, it will work for me because I need a little small head coming out my neck. And we're going to sand it down because, you know, I want stuff to stick to it. So basically, I'm just going to wet this sanding sponge. Just sand it. It's always better to sand things when it's wet. Everything I say seems to be an innuendo, but it's not intentional, honestly. I'm just basically trying to describe what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Tin foil is going to be our armature. We're basically just going to make the whole shape of the face with tin foil. So I'm going to use my knife to basically just carve it into these teeth because I want them to actually look a bit like teeth, and maybe add a little bit of texture in there by just scratching down. And I just realised something, I don't have any eyeballs, so we're going to stick these little polystyrene balls in here. You can use ping pong balls or whatever. Just find some little ball-shaped things. I'm using polystyrene, probably not the best idea, but they actually squeeze in pretty well without me having to undo all my work, so they work out. And I'm also going to burn a little hollow in the middle for later. I'll show you why later. I get asked often what is one of those things that is like a must-have in the workshop. I'd say tin foil, a nice big roll of tin foil, and you can do so much of it. Basically, you just save a ton of clay, a ton of green stuff, whatever, a ton of paper mache. But there we go. That is the shape of my head growth. It looks kind of like the worst Necron ever at the moment. So this head growth thing has to sit on my shoulder pretty comfortably. So I need like a shoulder pad, and I figured I'd make it using this corrugated cardboard. It might not be strong enough, but then, you know, lying in bed one night, I come up with the idea of maybe using little Alice bands. Do you remember Alice bands? Women used to put them in their hair, and little girls used to steal them off girls' heads in the playground, and then they'd just tell you how ugly you are, and just leave them alone. But not anymore, no, not anymore, because I'm a big YouTuber. People just write that down in the comments instead. But these things are going to grip onto my shoulder pretty well. They're pretty strong. Good idea, I thought. You know. Well done, Bill. Cheers, Bill. Thanks. So off camera, I made a little bit of a neck. We're not going to see any of that. It doesn't really matter. But basically, I wanted a lot of surface area so I could stick it down on the carb without it falling over. I know what you're thinking, that looks pretty flimsy, Bill. Not the first time you've said that, but yeah, that's because it is pretty flimsy, all right? But honestly, no, we're just going to keep attaching more tin foil and just making it look like it's growing out of something, you know, and it will be pretty solid later, especially when the paper mache is on there. It may even be too solid. I mean, that's pretty solid now. But let's get the paper mache out. So I added a bit of red paint to this paper mache clay because, you know, if it chips away, I don't want that little horrible white speck here and there. And basically, if you make this stuff and you want to store it, a bit of tin foil over the top, it lasts blooming ages. Sorry, I had to hiccup there and speak at the same time, and I probably could have edited that bit out, but I just kept it in because I'm kind of lazy. But basically, yeah, it lasts for ages if you want to put a little tin foil over the top. But here we go. It's very fibrous and it smooths pretty well. No, I'm just going to show you instead of, you know, be quiet, Bill. It's actually very similar to icing a cake. You kind of want it on thick, and then you just spread it out with like a flat object, like a bit of card or a little spreader. Yeah, like making a cake. I've never actually iced a cake, so I don't actually know what I'm talking about. But that's fine because you know, I just make stuff up on here basically. You haven't noticed so far, so it's okay. Actually, I probably shouldn't be saying this right now. It's just when I'm concentrating, I just tend to waffle on a load of gibberish, and I'm still actually doing it right now. I realise it. I should probably push the button and stop record. Anyway, it's nearly done. Look, it looks kind of a bit like the Red Skull, like a really crappy Red Skull from, you know, those Marvel films that got really bad. So in my opinion, that's all the hard work, basically, just making sure the whole thing is covered in this paper mache stuff. But I let it dry for a little bit, and I'm going to add a few details with this silicone tool. So satisfying. Basically, yeah, you want to let it dry so it's a bit more kind of sticky and clayey, and, you know, add a few details. Use a little brush there to smooth any bits out that you don't want, and just have fun. It's all about fun, really. I'm all about fun. So this is my first time working with this paper mache with like plaster in it and polyfiller, you know, basically paper mache clay, they call it, right? Inverted commas. But you can make this stuff as smooth as you like. You know, me working with it now, I realised, like, you know, I could have taken more moisture out with a little bit more flour, and it probably would have been more clayey. You know, I could have smoothed it out a lot more. I mean, it's fine for my purpose. I want it nice and pitted and wrinkly and disgusting. But, you know, if you wanted to make something really smooth, you probably could. So this is the funnest part. Basically, you stick your little silicone tool in there, wiggle it around, and you make little wounds here and there. You know, I mean, don't go too crazy with the wounds, but it's pretty fun and satisfying. I do go a little bit crazy, I'm going to be honest. So I think that's about it for the sculpting. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe just a few more wounds. But I'm going to leave this thing in the air and covered overnight, and hopefully it's ready for painting in the morning. We'll only know when that painting sign comes up on the video. Oh, here we go. It's coming up. So what I really like about this stuff is when it cures overnight, it actually shrinks a bit, you know, and you have to kind of prepare for that. It smooths out a lot as well. So any of those little wrinkles I was worried about, they're gone. Not my wrinkles on my face, they're still there. I just use a softness filter on the piece, but that's not important. Basically, if you carve any details into this paper mache stuff, it kind of shrinks as it dries and it refines the detail. Look, it just looks pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy. So as far as painting goes, I'm basically just going to overbrush this thing to begin with, and then just do layers and layers of dry brush. Now I keep mixing the paint with different quantities of flesh coloured and grey, just to get like a nice little varied tone over the whole thing. But it's basically just going to be dry brushing. The texture's already there, so it's this kind of fun painting that I like. So my regular viewers will know whenever I paint something on this channel, you know, something I've made, I like to invent like a backstory or tell a little story about the thing, and I've created a bit of a catalogue of lore. Now, if you enjoy that stuff, you might be happy to know, you might not be happy, but I'm basically making a wiki type website where you can go and basically read up on all the lore I've, you know, just spewed out of my face. So I've been working on this website for quite a while now, and who knew it, you know, typing up a whole wiki website actually takes quite a bit of work. There's quite a lot of typing involved, but it will involve pictures of the builds and, you know, links to go, you know, if you want to know what rusters are and where they go and, you know, what creatures they hunt, you'll click on the name of the creature and it will take you to it. You know how wikis work. I don't need to tell you that, but they do take a lot of work. But, you know, I'm going to stick at it. Hopefully it will be done soon. If you're interested in that, if you think it's a good idea, please let me know down below. I need encouragement. Always need encouragement. I'm a YouTuber. I need you to just keep praising and encouraging me. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. Now that was a joke. That wasn't a cry for help. I know a lot of people seem to think my humour is like a cry for help. It's not true, because if I was actually crying for help, I'd be like, oh God, help me! Somebody help me, please! Please, I need help! 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 For example, no, that's just my poor sense of humour. But anyway, I think it's about time we make some oil wash. You know, I can talk about something relevant to what you're seeing right in front of you. Now, I promised myself I wouldn't coat the whole thing in oil wash, but let's be honest, I'm probably just going to coat the whole thing in oil wash. But the best thing about oil wash is you can just wipe it away. Look. But just to be safe, I covered the whole thing in Mod Podge matte, just in case it did ruin it. I mean, spoiler, it didn't. I mean, to be honest, it actually made the oil wash work a lot more. You know, it actually ran into all the little grooves much easier. And what's the word? There's a nice word for when it runs into little grooves. What's the word? I should probably look it up before I start doing the voiceover bit, because it makes me sound a bit like, you know, I should probably Google it. Arterial something. I'm not going to cut this from the voiceover. I'm keeping it in, but it's something to do with arterial action, from something like that, or capillary action. Might be capillary. Whatever. Time to make some eyes. I've been looking forward to this. These are glass cabochons. You can find these on Amazon. They're dirt cheap, but they make like the best eyes. I'll show you how. Now, I used to paint directly on the back of the cabochons, but it would smudge and it wouldn't really stick. So someone mentioned in a comment before, why not do it on paper and then stick the paper to the back of the cabochon? So that's what I'm going to do. I do read the comments, even though Kat hearts all of them. I do actually read them, you know, some of them. So if you were to do this for like a living creature, you know, you'd probably put a little black pupil in the middle there. But I don't want that. I want this zombie head growing out of my neck to be blind. I want it to look like it has milky cataracts in its pupils so it can't see. So that's why I'm kind of smudging white all over the thing. I'm not sure if this is going to work. So to stick the paper, we're going to use a tiny dab of super glue, not too much, because super glue tends to like vapor up with glass, and it kind of tends to make it really smudgy, almost like it has cataracts, which probably would have worked in my favour, to be honest. But yeah, we're going to cut these out carefully, and there we go. They're my they don't look so good there, I'm going to be honest. But when we stick them in, use a little bit of tacky glue. I'm sure they'll look fine. Yeah, I think they look pretty good. What do you think? I think they look, yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's gloss the thing up. Let's make the wounds look a little bit more pussy and glossy and around the eyes. And I think we could probably knock that on the head, so to speak. That was a really terrible pun. I didn't intend to make a terrible pun there. That was just me saying, basically, we're finished with, you know, the head bit. I do apologise. So to finish off this costume, I need an old shirt. Now this is a shirt I bought when I was in Dad Bod Mode 1, which was the bigger version of Dad Bod Mode 2, which is what I am now. So it doesn't really fit me anymore. It's a bit baggy. It's a bit like, you know, E17. So I'm going to destroy it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to make a big hole so his head can poke through. Just like that. And I want to glue down some of these little edges here to make them look like, you know, they hang over with more purpose. And I'm just going to speckle a bit of red paint around the edge, like a few of the little wounds have touched them. And you can see what I'm doing now, and I think that's about it. Here it is, look. Cat, what do you think? Yeah, good? Oh, no, this. I guess all heads look the same to cats. Ted, what do you reckon? Slightly offensive, he says. I guess that's because he's dead. So there we go. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good, in my opinion. Considering it's just paper mache and tin foil and a pound chop skull, I'm pretty happy with it, despite what these guys think. I don't know what to call him, but maybe you lot can just comment down below and provide a few names that we can maybe call this thing. But yeah, it's pretty comfortable. You know, it's just like wearing a shoulder pad like you're back in the 80s. Why do people wear shoulder pads in the 80s? Was it for protection? It looks like he's got an arm. Look. Hello. Just pretend my head's not there. Now you listen up. I don't like people making judgments on my appearance. Look, I'm looking at you. Ow! I'm looking at you. You know, you can do stuff like that. It's pretty good. So I'm going to take this thing out to trick or treat my kid, and the next episode is going to be the real Halloween episode. This is the pre-Halloween episode. So you've got time to maybe make one of these yourself before Halloween. And if you do, let me know on Instagram, all that stuff. Glamour shots coming up in a minute. Don't forget, if you like this channel, you want to keep this going, support me on Patreon, all that stuff. Like it, subscribe, share it, watch it, which is the most important thing. So that's it from me, and whatever this thing's going to be called. So that's bye from me, and you're going to say goodbye? Oh, there he goes. He's saying bye. And there we are, my little second head that's going to be growing out my shoulder, made with paper mache. Now that's the most impressive thing I've ever made with paper mache. I know it's paper mache clay, but it is still technically paper mache. So it is a feat nonetheless. But I would use that in a really, really, really low budget horror film, lit really badly, wouldn't you? I mean, I'd say it looks pretty realistic enough. I'm really happy with it. If you ever make anything like this using this technique, let me know on Instagram, tag me, all that stuff. And all that's left is to thank, well, you know, these guys, the patrons. I love you, patrons. I really do love you. You keep this channel going. I will allow all of you to come along and kiss my second head. That sounds really rude, but I actually mean this paper mache head, right?